Minutes past 10, and it's time for Media in Review with Nick Hayes, Director of the Media Stable, joining us. Good evening, Nick.
Good evening, Murray. Nice to be talking to you.
Yeah, nice to have you on the program.
They've finally got the A-team on.
I'm sorry?
They've finally got the A-team on.
Well, yeah, I keep telling him that. They don't believe me. Walt's on holidays for a couple of weeks, but I love it when he goes on holidays because I enjoy the show so much.
Excellent. No, it's always good. It's a good time of the year. It's a good time to get out and have a little bit of a break, relax, reflect on what's happened so far, look forward to a big rest of the second half of the year. And it's amazing. I do a few of these interviews talking media, and at this time of the year, I don't know who I'm going to be talking to.
No, it gets that way, doesn't it? Yeah. Holiday, when you mentioned a break, I was just trying to think what one of those was. I have heard about them.
Well, when you own a small business, you very rarely get a chance to have a break. So
exactly, yeah.
Good luck to those that can get one.
Yeah, that's for sure. A few things to talk about tonight, and of course, has been in the news a lot lately. Australian journalist Peter Greste now sentenced to 7 years in Egypt jail. That was very disappointing for him and the family.
Look, it's been a really tough week the last week, and this news all broke a good 8-9 days ago, and one that I think a story that probably most would never even have heard of Peter's name if not only a month ago. It was only being reported that Peter was being held. He was actually being put forward in an Egyptian court. There was suggestions there that he had defamed the government, the new government of Egypt, and all because he is a reporter and a journalist. From Brisbane. His parents live in Brisbane. They have been going through a very tough time, emotional time there, watching their son over in Egypt being treated the way he has. This is probably the most united I have seen media and journalism come together, because it is an affront to everything that journalism represents.
Sure.
All Peter has been held for and with what has been a ridiculous crime and a ridiculous court series over there in Egypt is because he works for a little organisation called Al Jazeera, and Al Jazeera is one of the biggest Arabic news groups that there is, and a very reputable news group, not a terrorism group, nothing like that. And all because he's been working for them, him and his colleagues have been held, have been imprisoned, and now have been sentenced to 7 years because they were seen to have defamed the Egyptian government. And this has united the country all around, and also to outrage the world. This is not the kind of thing a new government, and particularly when you work in media, it's that ability and that absolute necessity to be able to deliver your news without fear or favour is so important, and
yes.
This is just a complete injustice.
Is there any truth to what they are saying? Was there any defamation at all on the part of
Absolutely none, and the whole court case, and we've been hearing about it for the last week, the evidence that was put forward and suggesting that he defamed the government, he was in support of the Muslim Brotherhood, and that whole idea that he was positioned on one place or another is completely ludicrous. And the whole world has seen this. And for a new democracy, that has a new government, and we know that there are issues in Egypt. I don't know if you've been there before, Murray.
No.
I was only there 6-7 years ago. It's one of the most beautiful countries with the most incredible history, but its people need tourism. Its people need the support from the outside world, and yet something like this is going to be so devastating because you wouldn't go to that country. In recent times, it has been quite volatile, but you just wouldn't go there, and there is absolutely nothing to suggest that Peter has done anything to warrant a 7-year sentence. It doesn't even warrant 1 day being held back.
Well, what is the government thinking there? I mean, it just seems such a strange thing to do. As you say, a new government, you'd think they would be wanting to keep the rest of the world happy and encourage tourism. Yeah,
look, it's been interesting because even our federal government has done a lot already and has a lot more to do. And even today, there was the council there for Egypt in Canberra was talking to journalists and acknowledges the outrage and the disappointment from Australian, not just the media, but also to the Australian people. A new government, it was interesting, the President refused to partake or even be involved in the decision-making or even look at consider Peter for release because he's staying out of the whole judicial system. The judicial system, it's a country here that is on literally a knife's edge as to whether it could go either way, whether the democracy continues or whether a new government takes over as well. It's just a really unusual place to be, but it's only something that they can sort out. And also, too, look, they're playing a hard line against the Muslim Brotherhood. And
Right.
they're saying, well, look, we will not put up with this. And because of Peter's employer, Al Jazeera, now Al Jazeera is not a terrorism group, and I guess some people and some politicians and some political parties in the past have referred to Al Jazeera as a voice piece there for people like Osama bin Laden. They are not. They are just purely a news group delivering news from their region and doing it the best that they can. And ultimately, this has just been a result of a government not liking this news group and paying out on its journalists.
So it seems. Is our government able to do more?
Look, it's a tough one. I think our federal government is doing everything that they can, and they've got to keep communicating. We can't alienate from this Egyptian government. We need to keep communicating, telling them that this is not on and that we won't be putting up with it. We've got to keep the doors open. And look, international sanctions are coming on hard and fast there for Egypt. So hopefully that will have some sort of influence and let them know that this is just not on. But look, this government is trying to toe a hard line, trying to let the people know that we will not put up with anything that will disrupt this government. And unfortunately, Peter is the one that is paying for it. Not just Peter, but his colleagues as well. There are a lot more other journalists that have also received the same sentence from different countries. But it's Peter we're concerned about. He's an Australian citizen, and he was just doing his job as a journalist.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for his parents. They always seem so positive. They seem so lovely.
They have to be, and they've been very strong. And look, all salutes to them for what they have gone through and how they're dealing with this. But I know how they're feeling. There's a lot of people in media that are just saying this is just not on, and if it happens here, it could happen anywhere. And why would you be a journalist if you can't report the truth? Because that's just what this whole business and industry is about, is reporting the truth. And, we must see him come home.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we look forward to a positive outcome. We certainly hope so. Moving on to something a little bit lighter. The BRW Richest came out last week, and this is the rich list of media heavyweights and wealthy media people. I was wondering whether I was going to be listed there, but the fact that I couldn't afford the magazine, I figured it answered myself that I wasn't going to be on the list, and I'm not.
No,
Gina Reinhardt.
I didn't make the list either, and not many of us did. In fact, it's the top 200, the BRW top 200 richest people. It's a great list. I think it's a list that we would all love to aspire to be in, although to be truthful, to have your personal income and your businesses be scrutinised as heavy as it is and to be put out there on a pedestal, I'm not too sure if I'd welcome that. I'd probably welcome a few of the zeros that are at the end of a few of these bank accounts.
I'd put up with it, I think.
But look, it's one that it always grabs our interest. It's a fantastic way to have a look and see who's doing what's going on. And